Hello, my name is Abby Linville, and this is my Module 10 assignment for EDL 852, helping students realize their learning norms. Students are a vital part of our school community, but they're often overlooked when it comes to creating mission and vision statements and setting learning norms and um, learning expectations in schools today. But if we encourage our students to be involved in these processes, it really helps them take an increase in ownership over their learning, and it has a strong impact on their student achievement. In a video created by Leaving to Learn, they identified 10 expectations that students have for their learning in schools today. The first is that they want to have relationships with the adults they work with. They want to know that the adults take interest in them and what they want to know and learn. They want their learning to be relevant and important to them and playing to their interest. They want timing. They want to make sure that they have they can learn things in a time that fits their needs best. And if they need a little bit more time on something, they can take it. Or if they have an interest to learn in something else now, that they can kind of move around those types of things. They also want time. They want more than just a short period of time to learn something. They want time to really dig in and get a deeper understanding of things. They want time to play. They want time to explore things and to learn things through exploration. They want time to practice. Often they are expected to know things. They learn it on one day and need to know it the next day. And they want time to practice and refine their skills and get better and better. Choice. They want to have options. They want to be able to select the mode of learning that is best for them. They want their learning to be authentic and to be able to see how what they're learning in the classroom can help them outside of their classroom later in life. They want to be challenged, and they want opportunities to apply the knowledge that they're learning in class. So with those 10 expectations in mind, I thought of 3 initiatives that I could put into a school building that I am leading so that students are able to achieve those 10 expectations. They are setting classroom and school norms, promoting a positive school culture, and providing teachers with professional learning so that they are able to support those top 2 initiatives and some other learning initiatives that will really help students meet those expectations. So let's look a little bit closer at each of them. So the first one is setting school and classroom norms. This one is really going to help students with building relationships. It's going to give them some authenticity in their learning and learning about their social skills and how they can apply those successfully. And it helps with application and applying the skills that they're learning in class. So the first step would be to have teachers create classroom norms with their students. This should be done in a group setting with the teacher and the students, and they're going through and talking and discussing as a class on what they think is important for functioning as a classroom community in the school. As they go through that, they'll define how the students can show those norms and what the teachers can do to help support the students in those norms as well. After that, then they're going to move to the broader school community. So then they're going to start looking at the code of conduct for students, and they're also going to review the school mission and vision statement with the students. This is something that is often overlooked in schools. We often really promote it with the adults, but we forget about our students, especially at the elementary level, which is what I work in. So one of the ways that some of the schools in my district do that for the students is they put it in an acronym because it's much easier for them to connect with and to remember. So what I would expect from the teachers in my school is that they would go over that acronym with the students and set some expectations and create some norms that would help support it. So if you look over, I have one of the acronyms for one of the schools I work in. They are the Panthers, and at the beginning of every day after they say the Pledge of Allegiance, they do the Panther Pride Pledge as well. And you can see on the side they go, we have Panther Pride, we are positive, we are respectful, and so on. So if I were leading them, I would encourage each of those teachers to sit in their classroom after they've set their classroom norm, and we're talking at a whole school level. How could they, as elementary school students, show that they are positive? What are some behaviors that they could do to show they're positive? What are some ways that they could show that they're respectful? By doing that, they're really able to see how they can apply these norms that they have talked about in their school setting. And then after you kind of help set these norms and set the expectations for how they could meet them, then you need to discuss the accountability piece of, if you're not meeting these norms, what are the next steps? What can we do to get you back on track and be successful in our school community? The next step is to create and promote a positive school culture. Students cannot learn unless they are feeling as if they are part of a positive, safe environment. And they want to feel that they are cared about and that they're respected in their environment. So providing a school-wide focus on social emotional learning is a great way to help build relationships and to make students feel comfortable so that they can be successful in the classroom setting. So the relationships are essential to their success. So in order to do this, they're going to have some daily class meetings where the teachers will have an opportunity to implement and show the students some of the social skills that they will need to be successful. And it also provides a great opportunity during those daily class meetings to review those norms that I talked about in the last step, where they can talk about, is everybody upholding these norms? Does everybody feel comfortable? And students can share any concerns that they have with the teacher. But taking the opportunity to go over the social skills too, like empathy and patience, really helps build good character traits in students. And also having this like time where you're just talking about what's going well and talking about student feelings really helps build those stronger relationships with teachers. In one of the schools in my district, the principal and vice principal make it a point every day to attend at least one class meeting in the morning. I think this is essential for the principal to build relationships with all the students in the school community, but also to be seen as part of the community and not just someone who oversees it. And it gives them an opportunity to build relationships with students as well. So that is definitely something that I would make a priority for me in a school that I was leading. I also think when you are going to build a positive school culture, you need to hear from your students and teachers and make sure that their voices are heard about how is the school culture going, what are the things that are taking place in the school, how do people feel about them. So surveying the students and teachers on a twice a year to kind of get feedback on the school community and the activities that are taking place is a great way to give voice to students and also provide them with seeing how their voice then is reflected and becomes relevant in the things that take place in the school. Another great way to make sure that students have built a relationship with staff in the building is to have minute meetings. So in the schools of my district, at the start of every school year, about a month and a half or so into school, the social worker and the counselor work together to meet with each individual student in the school for a minute or two. And during that time, they kind of get to know the student a little bit. They ask them some questions, but one of the questions is, who is your trusted adult in this building? Who is the person that you feel you could go to if you were having an issue in this building? And if a student doesn't have a trusted adult, then they flag them and start working on finding someone to help build that relationship with them, whether that be their classroom teacher, or maybe they had a good relationship with their previous year teacher, or maybe it's a para in the building, but they find them and a trusted adult to help to build that relationship with the students so that we make sure that all of our students feel a connection in our school community and that they feel comfortable at school and have someone there to have that relationship with. So if you're implementing all these ideas into your school, you want to make sure that you are providing support to your teachers as well. You want to give them some time to have some professional learning that will help support them in these initiatives. So if you are really doing a push for social emotional learning, your teachers need to be engaged in some professional development around this. Social workers and school counselors are great resources for that, and that is who I would most likely to reach out to help me in providing that professional development. I also know from that 10 expectations that students want their learning to be exploratory, authentic, and relevant, and they want to have some challenge and rigor to it as well. So Project-based learning is a great way to meet those needs for students. And so I would bring in some professional development that revolves around doing project-based learning in my school. Now, project-based learning is a huge initiative to take on. So I wouldn't expect the teachers to do all project-based learning and PBL projects all of the time, but I think it's a good goal to start with, to do one PBL project a year. And I think just by doing that and going through that process one time, you start to see connections between what you did in that project and other activities that you might be doing in your classroom that would help spur teachers to kind of step outside of their box and do some more relevant and applied based things that are more authentic learning than what they might have before. So I think it's a great way to kind of spark that interest and get it going, and that's why I would definitely put that at the top of my list for professional learning for my staff. I also would do some reviews and refreshers on differentiation. Differentiation has been talked about for a really long time, but it's also something that teachers do a lot and they don't recognize it, or they're not being as intentional as they could be about it. So I think I would do a refresher professional learning session on differentiation, because I think it's a great way to show student choice, and it's another way to make sure that their learning is authentic to them, and it also provides time for students. It gives an opportunity that some students might take 20 minutes to complete a lesson and another might need 40, and that's okay. Having differentiated lessons allows for that to take place in your classroom. I also wanted to note something that I think is super important with helping students feel valued in a school community and to feel like they have a strong relationship with their teacher and that they're important. And that is, if you look at John Hattie's work, which goes over that visible learning and looks at different ways that teachers can be effective in their classroom and different things that have influence student achievement. And one of those things is the teacher's estimates of achievement. And what teachers' estimates of achievement means is it's what the teacher believes their student can achieve. If a teacher believes that their students can have high levels of achievement, the students usually rise to the occasion. If a teacher sets a low level of achievement, students sense that and they don't make as high growth or gains. So if you want to challenge your students, you have to believe that they can do it. And I think that providing some professional learning over that impact that your views over your students can have would be a great way to kind of help boost and challenge students in your building as well. So the goals of all of those three initiatives would for the students to feel challenged, for them to build really strong connections with those that they are working with, and not only their classroom, but with their teachers and other members of the school community, to make sure that they feel their learning is relevant and that they have a voice and a choice, and that their voice is being listened to by all members of the school community. And I really would want the students in my classroom or in my school to have ownership over their learning. Throughout this assignment, it really helped come full circle for me. It helped me realize the importance of setting norms and how those norms help support the mission and vision, and how all of that in the student expectations go together to create a really strong school community. And so that's a lot of what I took from it, is that we have to make sure that we're involving our students to make it all come full circle and to work successfully in schools. And it also reminded me of the importance of relationships, because all of those 10 expectations all went back to, do you know your students? And so that's why I felt like social emotional learning should be at the top of the list of things that you should do, because none of those other expectations can be met if you don't have strong relationships with the students in your school. Here are the resources I use for my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.